Good evening, councillors, staff, ladies and gentlemen. I invite you to bow your heads in prayer. Almighty God, we ask you to guide us in all of our discussions, to show goodness, honesty, understanding and wisdom in all that we undertake for the benefit of the City of Joondalup and our residents. May we respect each other's views at all times, and we ask all of this in your name. Amen. Thank you. Please be seated. Nala Kadich, Wajak Murat, Kain Kardak, Nijabuja. We acknowledge Noongar people as the original custodians of this land, and I declare this council meeting open at 6:30 p.m. In accordance with the recording and live streaming of council meetings council policy, this meeting will be video recorded and live streamed on the city's website with the exception of confidential items and periods of adjournment as determined by the presiding member. Cameras have been positioned in such a way as to avoid members of the public. However, by being present at this meeting, members of the public consent to the possibility that their image may be live streamed to the public, and recordings will also be made available on the city's website following the meeting. The official record of the meeting will be the written minutes kept in accordance with the Local Government Act 1995 and any relevant regulations. Next item of business is declarations of interest. I have received three now. One from Councillor Raftis for item 13.1.1, appointment of independent HR consultant to support recruitment of the Chief Executive Officer process. It's an interest that may affect impartiality, as a number of the consultants within the tendering organisation are known to Councillor Raftis. A further declaration from myself for item 12.7, list of payments made during the month of July 2025. That's an interest that may affect impartiality, as I work for Thompson Gear, however I do not work on City of Joondalup matters there. And a further declaration from Councillor Humphrey for item 13.1.1, sorry, Director Humphrey, sorry. For item 13.1.1, CEO recruitment, that the item may affect future employment arrangements. Are there any other declarations, councillors? Thank you, Deputy Mayor. If not, we proceed. Well, you'll see on the agenda we have deputations. That was dealt with at briefing session. So we then proceed to public question time. There's a set of procedures which relates to public question time, and I'll ask that you follow my direction at all times. You'll have an opportunity to ask 2 questions. Your question should be directed to the chair and also asked in a polite and respectful manner. Please state your name and address for the public record before asking your question as per our meeting procedures local law. Members of the public are also reminded that candidates who have nominated in the upcoming local government elections are requested to identify themselves as a candidate prior to asking a question or making a statement at the briefing session or council meeting in accordance with the election caretaker policy. I'll commence with the register for public questions first and invite forward Bettina Gould.
Good evening, Bettina Gould, Shoalwater Parkway, Iluka. May I ask just for some clarity on a written question that I sent in, please? I asked about the relevance of attendance at a conference, and the answer that I got was that in relation to the attendance at the Developing Northern Australia Conference and the Australasian Coast and Ports Conference, that these were approved under the clause F and G, which is training related to the role of elected members and other local government specific training courses, things such as understanding the role, responsibilities of elected members. So may I just ask again, just for clarity, please, how it is relevant then for an elected member to attend a conference of such Developing Northern Australia Coasts and Ports in Adelaide? It's just the relevance, please.
Mr. CEO.
Thank you for that question, Ms. Gould, and through you, presiding member. The approval process typically involves an elected member identifying the relevance to their role of the particular conference which is proposed to for them to attend.
And
thank you.
Are we privy to that relevance? That's my question. You're saying that the elected member told you why he thought it was relevant. So is that something that the public could know, seeing that we're funding these trips? Is that a transparency
CEO?
thing that is possible?
Mr. CEO.
Thank you again, Ms Gould. I'll take that question on notice.
We've done the
Thank
on
you.
notice thing already once.
Ms Gould, thank you.
Okay, we're going to do it again.
Ms Gould.
All right. So has the reports been submitted?
That's 2 questions, Ms Gould.
Oh, that's my two questions.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Oh, right. Thank you.
Are there any further public questions? Ms Kwok.
Michelle Kwok, 15 Crabble Ocean Reef. Has the city issued fines and infringements to candidates who are non-compliant with the signage rules?
Director Lee.
Thank you. Through you, Mr Mayor. I would have to take the question on notice to identify whether or not we've issued specific fines or infringements, but the city does have a range of enforcement measures that it is applying across candidates where non-compliant election signage is identified. So it may be fines and infringements, but it may also be impounding of signs and having them pay an impound fee to return them. So as I said, I'd have to take the question on notice.
Thank you. Ms Kwok.
Yeah, second question, I guess. So the impounding fees, is that something, if the signage got removed, they have to pay to recover the signage?
Is that your second question, Ms Kwok?
Yes, indeed.
Director Lee.
Thank you. Through you, Mr Mayor. Yes, it could be in some instances. A candidate may have to pay an impoundment fee if they wanted to retrieve their signs after we'd collected them.
Okay,
I'll
thank
just
you.
make a quick comment. I understand the line of questioning, but we're not about to, in answering it, I don't think it would be appropriate to give any specifics, particularly given there's rights of appeal on infringements or methods of enforcement. So I think broadly the director's answer is appropriate. I don't think it's appropriate to delve into individual matters of enforcement.
Okay.
Thank you. Further questions? If not, that concludes public question time and we proceed to public statement time. There's a set of procedures which relates to public statement time and I'll request that you follow my direction at all times. You'll have an opportunity to ask up to 2 questions. Up to 2 questions. You'll have an opportunity to make a statement for up to 2 minutes. And as per our meeting procedures local law, any statements must avoid any adverse reflections on elected members or city officers. Are there any statements? Actually, my apologies, I do have a register here. I'll call forward for our first statement, Ms Sue North.
Sue North, 47 Parkwood Avenue, Woodvale. This is the last meeting I can attend before the local government elections, so I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge those elected members who are standing down or standing again. Thank you for your commitment to the City of Joondalup community. I'd like to particularly express my gratitude to Albert Jacob for his dedicated service as Mayor. In my view, Albert has led the city with a deep commitment to our community, fostering growth, advocating for sustainability, and ensuring Joondalup remains an inclusive and forward-thinking city. Thank you, Albert, for your leadership and vision. As we head into the upcoming council elections, we enter a time of change and, of course, of choice. It's a chance for our community to discuss ideas, debate priorities, and shape the future of Joondalup. But we must do this with respect and integrity. Let's remember that behind every candidate is a person, a community member who cares about our city. Healthy debate is vital, but personal attacks, inflammatory statements, negativity and dis and misinformation do nothing to strengthen our community. They divide us when what we need is constructive conversation. Let's all commit to raising the standard of our local political dialogue, not just online, but in our homes and in our social circles. Let's focus on policies, vision and values, not personal criticisms. Good luck to all of those standing, and may this election be one that reflects the best of who we are in the City of Joondalup. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms North. Suzanne Apps. And I forgot to say it at the start, again, if a candidate, please identify before making a statement. Thank you, Ms Apps.
Good evening. I am Suzanne Apps, and yes, if you've seen one of the few signs still standing, you'll know I'm a candidate in the upcoming election. Tonight, I'm here to support Tracy Barlow, a resident of Woodvale, with her petition. All it asks is simple, that the community be given the redevelopment details for Chichester Park now, not 2 weeks before it begins late next year. Most of us were pleased to see the playground set for an upgrade. Who doesn't want that? But when the consultation plans came out, they were full of errors, missing items like the toilet block that was in the capital expenditure, fences in the wrong place, and even the disc golf holes mapped right through the soccer goals. No wonder regular users are concerned. People stated in the survey it was a great idea. But there were lots of buts. What about the parking? What about the paths and the lighting? What's in it for the older kids? What about the disc golf course? What about the shade? What about the noise? Since the survey, a lot has changed. The CapEx now shows 4 cricket bays are to be installed in 26-27, and Westside continue to race up the ladder. MPL beckons. This very wet winter without adult sports have damaged the pitches terribly, and at what cost to repair? This all sees further pressure on the park's usage, so something to be considered. The survey saw 114 Woodvale local participants. Tracy's petition has already gathered 66 signatures just from the people living close to the park. That's a strong voice asking for the clarity. The message from the community is clear. The community wants these upgrades, but they want them done well, properly, with real consultation. So Chichester Park works for all the residents in Woodvale for the long time. So please, can we have the plans?
Thank you. Tracy Barlow.
Tracy Barlow, 2 Tallering Heights, Woodvale. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of concerned residents living on Chichester Drive and Landor Gardens in Woodvale and the broader park community regarding the City of Joondalup's plans to upgrade recreational facilities in Chichester Park. Our primary concern is the inclusion of a skate park and pump track in proximity to residential homes and the associated negative impacts. The 2023 community consultation yielded a meagre 6.1% response rate from residents within 500 metres of the park. While there was support for upgraded facilities, the skate park and pump track and relocation of the disc golf course received the least endorsement. Notably, 83% of respondents commented, with 53% expressing concerns regarding noise, parking congestion, antisocial behaviour, environmental impact, overuse of the park, changes to ambience and aesthetics, reduced walkability and dog friendliness, social exclusion and safety issues related to relocating the disc golf course. To date, the City has not addressed or outlined measures to mitigate these concerns. However, we understand that final plans have been approved by Councillors May and Pizzey. In doing so, the community has not had the opportunity to bring concerns to Council. Our request for the plans was declined by the City, indicating that the final plans would be released just before the commencement of works. This limits the community's ability to comment on the development and effect any changes, as it will be too late. Our petition now stands at 66 signatures, showing that the community wants transparency and to understand what will happen in their local park, especially for those living adjacent. We respectfully request that the final plans and impact assessments, such as acoustic modelling, be made fully accessible for review and consideration, and that you support our petition. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and I note that we have a petition coming up, but I will just correct one point. Individual councillors do not and cannot approve in their role as councillors. Decisions are only made as a council by the council as a whole, unless it's come onto the agenda of the council. There hasn't been any approval from the 2 ward councillors. Ms Michelle Kwok.
Good
Good evening, Mayor, Councillors. Michelle Court, 15 Cromwell, Ocean Reef. Election signage. According to the City of Joondalup, conditions on election signage and road reserves, signs cannot be installed more than 30 days prior to election. Signs should not be placed within 50 metres of any other thoroughfares, intersection or junction. Signs are not to be placed at least 2 metres from the curb line. Signs are to be freestanding and not attached to any structure, post or tree. A maximum of 5 election signs per suburb can be displayed at any one time. All the above conditions have been breached by various candidates. The city only responds to complaints regarding signage, which is disappointing. Ideally, the city should be proactive in its duty to remove illegal signage, issue fines and infringements to those who breached the conditions. The city should not expect candidates who abide to the conditions to lodge complaints. City has an obligation to uphold good governance standard. Candidates who are incapable of following the rules or blatantly ignore these rules should be heavily penalised. Otherwise, we are encouraging bad behaviours. How could we expect candidates lacking in integrity to represent us if they think they're above the law? I urge the city to discourage such bad behaviour by being proactive with this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Kwok. I will just make a quick comment. And I think it's appropriate given the timing. Obviously, people who aren't the person who's on the receiving end of enforcement action aren't going to be aware what the city is doing in terms of enforcement action. Now, I'm not a candidate in this election, so I'm not experiencing any of it myself, but I can assure you from previous campaigns, I can think of a couple of occasions, and I'll be honest, I had inadvertently placed signs in incorrect positions. Who I thought was the property owner had told me it was appropriate. Apparently it wasn't. The city was very swift and I was fined. I can tell you from personal experience on 2 occasions that officers at the city are conducting enforcement action, but they will not be revealing it publicly. It is between them and the person that they are following up enforcement action with. Thank you, Ms Kwok.
Thank you.
Are there any further public statements? If not, that concludes public statement time. Thank you. Next item of business is announcements by the presiding member without discussion. In the first instance, I wish to pay tribute to Joy Coleman, and I would like to, on behalf of the City of Joondalup... Oh, have I jumped? My apologies. I appear to be missing a page in my notes tonight, and I've pulled ahead. My apologies. Apologies and leaves of absence. We'll just go back. First of all, we have a full house. And we also have a couple of leaves of absence approved ahead of us. Are there any requests for a leave of absence beyond those that are before us now? Councillor Vinchorley.
Thank you. Yes, from the 3rd of October to the 12th. Sorry, the 13th. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. From the 8th to the 12th of October inclusive.
Thank you. Did I see another? Councillor Jones.
Thanks, Mayor. Can I cancel the request for 24th of September to the 21st of October, but change it to 29th of November to the 24th of December? Thanks.
Thank you. Were there other requests? Perfect. Can I then have a mover for the motion before us? Moved Councillor O'Neill. Do I have a seconder? Seconded Councillor Jones. By a show of hands, those in favour? Declare that carried unanimously. Thank you. Next item of business is confirmation of the minutes. Do I have a mover? And we have 2 minutes before us. The ordinary council meeting minutes held on the 26th of August 2025 and the special meeting of council held on the 3rd of September. Do I have a mover for those? Councillor Jones. Do I have a seconder? Seconded Councillor Hamilton Prime. Are there any questions or comments on the minutes? If not, I'll put that motion by show of hands. Those who approve the minutes in favour? Against? Declare that carried unanimously. Thank you. Now, next item of business is announcements by the presiding member without discussion, and my apologies for before. As I said, I wish to pay our respect as a city to the family and friends of the late Joy Coleman, who passed away recently. Founder of the Spears Centre in Heathridge, Joy was a true leader of our community and someone who put the needs of others ahead of herself. The Spears Centre that Joy created has supported tens of thousands of people over the years with financial counselling, emergency relief, parenting support, social inclusion programs and more. The centre will continue to fulfil its purpose, inspired by Joy. An unstoppable force, Joy fought for funding, rallied local government support and inspired others to believe that community could overcome isolation and hardship. A woman of fierce determination, relentless in her pursuit of a better life for her community, Joy's legacy lives on. Vale Joy Coleman, you will be missed. Also, we are excited and a big crowd is expected at Arena Joondalup in February next year to see the Western Force take on the Auckland-based Blues in a Super Rugby fixture. Home to around 170,000 people, the city of Joondalup is rugby heartland, with premier grade clubs Joondalup Brothers and Wanneroo based in our region. Nearly 40% of our residents were born overseas, mostly from cricket-playing nations including the United Kingdom, Ireland, New Zealand and South Africa. And the chance to see premier domestic rugby in our backyard will be eagerly anticipated. Arena Joondalup is one of WA's premier sporting precincts, home to world-class facilities and one of Western Australia's best playing surfaces. Furthermore, Reconciliation Australia has formally endorsed the city's Reconciliation Action Plan, including 87 action items across the 4 Reconciliation Action Plan themes, being relationships, respect, opportunities and governance. This RAP reflects the work of many members of our community, and in particular the commitment and passion of a group of community and organisational representatives who have given their time, knowledge and experience as members of our RAP Community Reference Group. Our first RAP is a transformational document for us as an organisation and as a community, and we are proud that it has progressed past the reflect level straight to the innovate level. The city's Reconciliation Action Plan is available online to view at the city's website. Finally, it will shortly be Bloom time, as Bloom is set to transform Joondalup Central Park into an illuminated wonderland when it makes its WA premiere later this month. Running nightly from Friday the 26th of September to Sunday the 26th of October, this spectacular festival of light and colour will feature interactive projections, laser displays and ambient soundscapes. Don't miss this immersive experience of light, sound and storytelling as patrons embark on their own magical journey under the stars. And for more information and details, visit bloomjoondalup.com.au. Next item of business is identification of matters for which the meeting may be closed to the public. We have 2 confidential reports tonight, being item 12.3, status of legal actions report, and item 13.1.1, which is the appointment of an independent HR consultant to support the recruitment of the CEO process. These items will be dealt with behind closed doors, and I'm therefore proposing a procedural motion that in accordance with Clause 14.1 of the City's Meeting Procedures Local Law, that we suspend the operation of Clause 4.3, which is order of business of the City, to enable consideration of those 2 confidential items to be discussed after urgent business. Seconded, Deputy Mayor. Just a very brief comment from myself. For those who haven't attended a council meeting previously, we're essentially just pulling those 2 items out of the agenda and moving them to the very back of the agenda so that we don't have to ask you all to leave. And then if your item was still later in the night, wait outside for an indefinite amount of time and then come back. So we'll move those 2 to the very end of the agenda. I will put that motion and by a show of hands ask you to cast your vote. Those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Thank you very much. Next item of business now is petitions. The City is in receipt of 2 petitions included in tonight's agenda. One is a petition in relation to installing barbecue facilities, a shelter and water access at Sandalford Park in Belden, and another is a petition in relation to providing the full plans and usage details for Chichester Park Woodvale, including the upgrades to the play space and extended sports facilities. I have a motion before us to receive those petitions and refer them to the CEO for action. Moved Councillor May, seconded Councillor Pizzey. Thank you. Any comments on the motion? I'll put that motion and ask you to cast your votes. There we go. Declare the voting closed, and that motion is carried unanimously. We now proceed to the report section of the agenda. As is my practice, I'll go around the room and invite elected members to withdraw items should they wish to. So I'll start first of all, Deputy Mayor.
None, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Hutton.
Thank you. I'd like to abstract item 12.5, the minutes of regional council meetings.
Thank
I have
you.
an alternate I'd like to move.
Thank you, Councillor Hutton. Councillor Kingston.
None, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jones.
No, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor May.
No, thank you.
Councillor Pizzey.
No thanks.
Councillor Hamilton Prime.
None, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Vinciulo.
None, thank you.
Councillor Chester.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item 12.8, financial activity statement. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 12.7, list of payments during the month of July, and 12.9, card transactions for the month of July.
Thank you. Councillor Fishwick.
None, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And Councillor Aftis.
12.4, please.
Thank you. The only one for me is one that I would be moving anyway, which is the CEO Performance Review Committee one. And we have to do that behind closed doors, but because it's an absolute majority.
Mr. Mayor.
I will also make sure I withdraw Mindarie Regional Council, which I think is what the acting governance director is reminding me. Thank you. Councillor Chester.
Yes, thank you for your indulgence. I missed 12.1. Thank you.
That being the case, Councillor Chester, would you like to move 12.1?
I would, thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Seconded, Councillor O'Neill. Councillor Chester.
Yes, at the briefing session, I requested more details on an $18 million project within the ECU precinct, and I just want to compliment the staff for the detailed follow-up with detailed plans and costing, which was very satisfying, and I simply want to thank the staff for their work on that particular item. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor O'Neill, as seconder.
Nothing further to add, thank you.
Further comments on this item? I'll put the motion then and ask you to cast your votes on the screen before you. Declare the voting closed and the motion is carried. Thank you. Item 12.4, status of council decisions. Councillor Aftis.
I'd just like to move it as tabled, please.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Seconded, Councillor Kingston. Councillor Aftis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a number of questions on a couple of items, please. First one to do with February 24, appointment of external members to Audit and Risk Committee. An update in terms of action, in terms of recognising payments for members of the committee and any other panels or reference groups.
Mr. CEO.
Thank you, Councillor Raftis, for that question, and through you, presiding member. My understanding is that a report is planned to be provided to Council before the end of this year.
Councillor Aftis.
Thank you. The next one on from that, next one down on the same page, it's to do with insurance and whether we're actually going to meet the time frame to be able to look at a review of that arrangement ahead of the next insurance renewal due in early 2026.
Director Humphrey.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, a consultant has been appointed to review the city's current insurance arrangements, and we would aim to have that report to November-December council meeting. Depending on the consultant's report, council may wish to determine the review, and that will be in time for the next financial year.
Councillor Aftis.
Thank you. Just seeking an update on the report on the protocols for on-the-spot rewards. Is there any review on how they operate? They said that will be prepared, but just wondering if that's going to be distributed.
Ms. McCurry.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Aftis, that report will be going to the November committee meeting.
Thank you. And the last one is regarding the report on the annual calculations for these venue hire and fees, hire fees and charges policy. There's no progress or date on that, or when that might be dealt with. I'm just wondering if that's possible to have one, please.
Director Humphrey.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, is that in regard to the audit of the calculation or the information being provided? Sorry.
That's regarding the audit.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I will take the question on notice and speak to the Acting Manager of Audit and Risk Executive Services in the morning. We will be able to provide the information as part of the next budget presentation, but I'll provide an update on when an audit can be undertaken.
Thank you. Councillor Kingston, as seconder. Further comments? If not, Councillor O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just really quickly on something that I did bring up in the briefing session there, it is good to see that there has been the memorandum circulated for the rewards and protocol for the on-the-spot rewards, and I look forward to a very in-depth explanation during the next audit and risk meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments? If not, I'll put that motion and invite you to cast your vote on the screens before you. Declare the voting closed and the motion is carried. Next item is item 12.5. Councillor Hutton.
Thank you. I'd like to move the alternate motion, which notice has been provided.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Seconded Councillor Hill. Councillor Hutton.
Yes, thank you. Last year, over 300 local residents gathered at the Currambine Community Centre to discuss the ongoing odour issues at Tamala Park. The meeting played a critical role in informing the way that we, as your local representatives, are trying to tackle this problem. What was made clear by locals was that they want to see the facility closed as soon as possible. This position differed from the strategy presented by Mindarie Regional Council, the TIPS operator, who wanted to see approximately half of red bin waste diverted to a new facility in Perth South. If this were to happen in isolation, the expected life of the tip would have extended from 2027 to 2029. Thankfully, due to a number of factors, this proposal has stalled. Since the community forum, as a member of both the Joondalup Council and the Catalina Regional Council, I've subsequently moved motions to request MRC investigate all options to expedite the closure of Tamala Park. Both of these motions, which I believe to be in line with the wishes of the community, have passed unanimously and now form the official positions of both COJ and CRC. Unfortunately, the Mindarie Regional Council to date has not agreed to these requests. In addition, on the 28th of November 2024, an environmental protection notice was issued by the Department of Water and Environmental Regulation to MRC with 11 rectification issues being identified. The most recent minutes of the MRC Odour Management Key Stakeholder Working Group, which was released earlier this month, shows that the final of these 11 issues has now been complete. With these actions now having happened, the question now is, has the odour improved at Tamala Park? The answer I'm hearing loud and clearly from the community is it hasn't. And in fact, some are even saying that it has gotten worse. With this being the case, I am of the opinion that as a council, we now need to take our advocacy on the expedited closure of Tamala Park to the next level. Given we are currently in caretaker period, the power of this council is limited. However, I implore the incoming councillors, whoever they are, to continue giving this issue the attention it deserves so that my community, the community I represent, can once again live without the odour of Tamala Park, and we can put this once and truly behind us as an issue. I encourage you all to support the motion.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor, seconder.
Yes, thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. So I largely echo the sentiments expressed by Councillor Hutton and support this alternative. I'd just like to comment briefly on the report that in item 1, the Mindarie Regional Council minutes. I would comment that the report as presented in the agenda for tonight's meeting is rather brief and doesn't have all the attachments in there. So I have actually gone into the attachments from the MRC website, and I found I had to go into something called the packet, which has much more information in there. And I just have some comments in general. So whilst I think we should all be very interested in the odour management issues and the potential dates for closure and maintenance of the landfill site, and we should also be interested in other matters such as future options for our red bin waste. But I also see comments in these minutes when I delve into them regarding a new FOGO processing facility at Joondalup, and also comments about a circular economy centre and a waste transfer station, which I understand might potentially be at Tamala Park. All these things are happening without matters coming before City of Joondalup Council. So I'm very interested in all these topics, and I would like to request that the administration arranges for detailed discussion on Mindarie Regional Council and Tamala Park at the first strategy session, if possible, after the new council is sworn in. I would appreciate it. I think we all need to be very interested, and we all need to be armed with the knowledge so we can all decide how we can best serve our residents in these matters. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments? Councillor Fishwick.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I think that by reducing the cost to dump building construction waste at Tamala Park, the landfill site, would expedite the closure, and that's something that I will be addressing with that council as a member. So that would, I believe, reduce or increase expedite the closure by a year or so. I think if they allowed that to happen. Yeah, so that's something that MRC should pursue, I believe.
Further comments? Councillor Hutton, do you wish to close?
Yeah, I will just make a brief closing comment, and that is I'm deeply concerned about this issue and the impact it's having on the local community. And I think in an ideal world, it would shut as soon as possible. It's obviously, unfortunately, the case that a landfill of its nature does need to be complete. The profile does need to exist in a way that the water runs off. If the profile of the tip isn't complete, you end up effectively with a swimming pool on top of a landfill site, which isn't any good for the odour issues. So that's why I think it's very important that we do get our focus on the most practical outcome. And the most practical outcome is doing the things that we just heard from Councillor Fishwick, getting more non-smelly waste from construction sites in there, investigating the profile of the actual site changing so that it can fill faster. But I think the most important thing we've got here is making sure we can send as much waste there as possible, as soon as possible. Obviously, the MRC's position in this matter is that by sending more stuff there, they won't be able to manage it as well. Well, I would just make the point that they're not managing it as well as it is at the moment, and they've been given months to address these issues. The issues that they've addressed, as per the state government requirements, haven't went far enough. So, again, I'm strongly of the opinion that if MRC aren't going to address this and aren't going to actually commit to a closure date in 2027, which is completely possible, that we have to advocate at a higher level, and we have to get the state government to treat this issue seriously. And if it doesn't come to that, then maybe the Mindarie Regional Council itself needs to be reconfigured, and the council itself maybe should no longer exist. And we should look at getting some actual experts in there to manage it, because it's not working as it currently is designed to, and it's not delivering the right outcomes for our community. So I'm really serious about this, and we need to do it. But knowing we're in the caretaker period, I do encourage those candidates that are in the gallery, brush up on this pretty quickly, because we're going to have a lot to achieve in the first few months of the next term of council. So I thank you all for your continued support on this, and I encourage you to support the motion as read in front of you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll put that motion and ask you to cast your votes. Declare the voting closed, and the item is carried. Next, we have item 12.7, list of payments made during the month of July. Councillor O'Neill, do you wish to move?
Yes, I'd like to move the item as written.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Seconded, Councillor Hamilton Prime. Councillor O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. By and large, quite satisfied with the explanations given by the City on the questions raised in the briefing session. A couple of key points that I would like to note. The first one is obviously the payment of the musical the music that is paid for on the subscription or the yearly subscription. I'm just wondering if the city has or is going to maybe look at an alternative that brings the cost of that down somewhat. It is quite an excessive amount.
Director.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the licence referred to is a licence to play copyrighted music in a public place. I'm not aware of there being an alternative at this stage, but I'll certainly speak to the staff tomorrow and see if there are alternates in that space. So it's not actually a subscription to access to music, it's a licence that allows the city to play other people's music in a public space.
Thank you. And just the other thing really quickly was in relation to the skateboard decks. When I received the explanation that I raised about this question, I'm seeking some clarification in relation to how it stated the skateboard decks were there to stop something. I'm seeking a further explanation from the city as to how these are going to do that. And does the city foresee that these will be five-finger discounted, I suppose, from the Percy Doyle skate park?
Mr. Hamling.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it's an innovative way of stopping skating happening on areas where we don't want them. So instead of having stoppers on walls, retaining walls and so forth, these will actually be bolted into the wall, and it prevents people from actually skating on it, but it also acts as a seat as well at the same time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hamilton-Prime. Further discussion on this item? Deputy Mayor.
Yes, thank you. I just mentioned that generally music licences are looked after by an organisation called AMCOS, and I think we'll find that they have standard schedules of rates depending on the usage that a licensee intends to use it for. So I don't think there's scope for negotiation, but I'll wait for the answer from the Director. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments? Councillor Raftis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of questions, if I could. Page 109, North Metropolitan TAFE, 17,794. Main component being a DIP project management.
Director Humphrey.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I believe that's in relation to a diploma of project management course which a number of staff undertook, but I'm happy to take the question on notice and provide more details to elected members.
Councillor Raftis.
Thank you. And last one is page 118, Sue Run Services. Reactive Capital Works car accident, 37,000. So we could have some information on that, and assuming where we were able to claim that amount back and what was damaged. Thanks.
Director.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I will have to take that question on notice. I'm not familiar with the incident itself. As a general principle, if the city's infrastructure is damaged as a result of a traffic accident, it is covered under our insurance policy, but I will take the question on notice and provide the details to elected members.
Thank you. Further comments, Councillor Kingston?
Thank you. Just a question on page 105. So Aitken, Beer, Boyce and others, the shark barrier contract and replacement. Can I just have some understanding of that and whether there's some relevance to the shark barrier litigation?
Director.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I would have to take that one on notice.
Yep. Thank you. And a further one on page 84, civic legal, 74,400. Could we also just get some understanding of how much we expect this matter to cost to conclude, or how much we're budgeting for it? It's not always possible to say how much it will cost, but how much are we budgeting to conclude this matter?
Mr. CEO.
Thank you, Councillor Kingston. Through you, presiding member, I'll take that question on notice.
Thank you. And then a further one for page 84, the Spiders subscription for the library, and that's 74,000. Is that being replaced through the core systems replacement, or are we still going to be using that system?
Mr CEO.
Thank you, Councillor Kingston, and through you, presiding member. I will take that on notice, but I think that the reference in it to LMS could be Learning Management System, but don't quote me on that. We'll find the answer for you and respond.
Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments? Councillor Aftis, do you have a question?
Just a question, thanks, Mr Mayor. Just one last one. Page 83, Churches of Christ, Sport and Recreation, plumbing reimbursement for $2,500. Just wonder if we can get some details on that and which premises that was in regard to.
Director.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I will take that one on notice and provide the information to elected members.
Thank you. Councillor Aftis, do you wish to... Wait, did you move? Councillor O'Neill, do you wish to close?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Nothing further.
Thank you. I'll put that motion and ask you to cast your votes. Declare the voting closed and the item is carried. Next item is 12.8. Councillor Chester.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move the item.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Seconded Councillor O'Neill. Councillor Chester.
Yes. Look, I believe with respect to the city's financial activity, I believe there's an urgent need to clarify information which is being circulated currently regarding the city's budget deficit. It's not unusual for an organisation of our size to operate, considering we operate quite sophisticated financial systems, it's not unusual to have deficits within our budget. And the falsehood that I think has been propagated at the moment, quite misleading, is that at some point in the future we will have to increase our rates to 14% to cover that budget off, or the deficit off. So I respectfully request the Director of Corporate Services to possibly put a more balanced and accurate reflection on the status of that budget deficit. Thank you.
Director.
Through you, Mr Mayor. I haven't actually seen the reports myself that refer to a 14% increase. My view at the moment would be that it's probably going to be 1 to 2% more than CPI for council, but ultimately that will be a council decision over the next 2 to 3 years, but I'm not aware of any significant financial issue that would cause a 14% increase.
I am seeking further clarity. It may look that we are in a budget crisis, which is not the case, clearly, and I'm seeking clarity from you in particular to satisfy those who may wish to put a different slant on that situation. Thank you.
Director.
Through you, Mr Mayor, it's difficult to see where that might be coming from. People may be making commentary around the recent decision in the WA Industrial Relations Commission. I can assure you that the city does have plans in place to cover back pay, and that has been accounted for in 2 previous financial years. But I'm not aware of any other suggestion or assertion that the rates will need to increase by 14%, but I'll also reassure council that ultimately at the end of the day, the amount that rates change by, up or down, is a decision of council taken at the time with all the financial information presented to it.
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor O'Neill.
Reserve my right.
Further comments? Councillor Aftis.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Questions, if I may, regarding the statement on page 145. This is a briefing session items. The current assets. Could some clarity around the 176 million outstanding, and considering that we've invoiced, according to the statement, 146 year to date, but we've got 176 million outstanding, so that's assuming nobody paid in July. So could we get some clarity around the $30 million difference and what that represents, please?
Director.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I will take it on notice to provide further information, but by way of initial response, we do raise rates in early July. Very few people pay them in July. So the difference will be accounted for either rates where people have notified us already of instalment plans or people who have prepaid their rates. But I will provide a breakdown to elected members via email.
Councillor.
Yes, thank you. On the 30 June figures, which was in the previous months, had outstanding debtors of $23 million. So I'm assuming that hadn't been billed in terms of rates for the new year. So I'm trying to get my head around, and I understand we bill in July, but we've only billed 116 because that's completely recognised in the year-to-date actual for revenue. So there's a significant amount. And if we do get the additional information, can it be aged as to what those amounts are and when they were actually due? Thank you.
Director.
Through you, Mr Mayor, yes, I'm happy to provide an age trial balance for July, August and September, and as well as the year-end position for 30 June 2025 to elected members. That will be available later this week.
Thank you. Same page, on sundry payables for July, we're at 35.9 million, up from 7.8 million 30 June. So just wonder if we get some clarity around the significant increase on that liability, please.
Director.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I would have to say that on notice to provide the breakdown of what's gone into that. Again, it's not totally unusual for us to receive a number of invoices very late in June or early July that would accrue to July, but I'm happy to take the question on notice and provide the breakdowns.
Right, thank you. And the accrued wages for the back pay, the 4.9 million that was done at end of 2024, which line does that sit in, and have we calculated the figure to go in as at 30 June 25?
Director.
Through you, Mr Mayor, that would sit in the provisions, the line under the one that Councillor Raftis was just referring to. The change in figures, the provision was at 4.9 million in round numbers for 30 June 2024. That will increase to 6.7 million for 30 June 2025.
So just for clarity, which provision? Because if you clarify the title, because they're just annual leave, long service leave, purchase leave.
Director.
Sorry, Mr Mayor, can you refer me to which page you're citing at the moment, Councillor Raftis?
No, I'm looking at the closing funds note 16 within the report. $145 was just in the briefing session, paged. But
You're referring to briefing session page numbers? Director.
Mr Mayor, I believe it's currently categorised in sundry payables, but again, I'll take the question notice and provide that information to elected members and the breakdown of that payables.
Councillor.
thank you. And just seeking some clarity on the response to Councillor Chester's question. My recollection of the reference to a 14% rate increase was within the budget papers that were within the June meeting, and there was a reference to say that to rectify the operating deficit, the rates would have to increase by 14% to fix that. So can we get some clarity around that one, please?
Director.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I think the reference to 14% in the budget report, and I will check this and provide further information to elected members, was reference to the city's trajectory and to change that trajectory in 1 year, which was not recommended by officers. That's not a sustainable position to increase rates by that much in 1 year, and the budget outlined that position could be rectified by much smaller increases over a period of 3 to 5 years. But that may be where the reference that Councillor Chester has made has come from.
Councillor, your time's expired. Further comments? Councillor Chester, do you wish to close?
And nothing more to add. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. I'll put that motion and ask you to cast your votes. Declare the voting closed and the motion is carried. Next item of business is 12.9, card transactions for the month of July. Councillor O'Neill.
I'd like to move the item as written.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Seconded, Councillor Hamilton Prime. Councillor O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Again, thank you to the city for the responses in the pack. I do obviously still have concerns in relation to gift cards, service recognition cards and things like that, but happy to discuss that further in the audit and risk meeting. And thank you to the city for clarification on the clerical error from page 147 in relation to the Facebook, which was the 25 years thing, and clarifying that for me. I just would like to ask really quickly in relation to from page 150 to page 160 in the briefing session agenda pack. There seems to be a lot of items, say for instance 4th of the 7th 2025, there is a rego number, it's ULP, which I'm assuming is unleaded petrol, but on the fleet type it actually shows not found, and that's quite that's displaying quite a lot. I'm just wondering why it shows not found numerous times for transactions which are anywhere from $38 to $100. And if we could get some clarity around that as to why they don't say what fleet they belong to.
Director.
Through you, Mr Mayor, the most common cause of that occurring is where there's a new vehicle that's been purchased and the system hasn't been updated to include that detail yet, but obviously fuel still needs to be purchased. But I'll take that on notice and provide an explanation for each of those registration numbers.
Thank you. Nothing further to add on that.
Thank you. Further questions or comments? In that case, I'll put that motion and ask you to cast your votes. Declare the voting closed and the item is carried. Next item of business is 14.1, appointment of an acting member to Mindari. No, I do this one and then exception. Yeah, I'll go to here and then go back. So 14.1, appointment of acting member to Mindari Regional Council. As you'll see in the addendum agenda, we do need to appoint somebody for this Thursday, 25th of September. So I'll first of all throw the meeting open for nominations. Councillors. Deputy Mayor, thank you. Are there any other nominations? In that case, I will propose Deputy Mayor Hill to represent the city at Mindari Regional Council. Do I have a seconder for that? Seconded to Councillor May. Thank you. I'll put that motion and ask you to cast your votes. Thank you. Declare the voting closed and that motion is carried. Thank you, Deputy Mayor, for putting your hand up for that one. Before we go to our confidential items, I'll propose an exception resolution that pursuant, I'll seek a mover for an exception resolution that pursuant to clause 483 of the Meeting Procedures Local Law, Council adopts the following items being item 12.2, item 12.6, I think that's it. Yep. Do I have a mover for that motion? Moved Deputy Mayor, seconded to Councillor O'Neill. I'll put that motion and ask you to cast your vote. Thank you. Declare the voting closed and that motion is carried. We now proceed to the next bit, which is urgent business, of which there is none. Motions of which previous notice has been given, of which there is none. I'm proposing a procedural motion to close the meeting to members of the public to consider those two items as disclosed earlier, being 12.3, which is the status of legal actions report, and 13.1.1, the appointment of an independent HR consultant to support recruitment of the CEO process. And 2, permits the following employees to remain in the chamber, being the CEO, Director of Corporate Services, the Acting Director of Governance and Strategy, Director of Planning and Community Development, Acting Director of Infrastructure Services, Manager of Governance, Governance Coordinator, Senior Governance Officer and Governance Officer. Propose that procedural motion. Do I have a seconder? Seconded, Deputy Mayor. By show of hands, those in favour? Against? Declare that carried unanimously. Thank you. are none. Announcements of notices of motion for the next meeting. Council? That being the case, I hereby declare this meeting closed at 7:34 p.m. Thank you all.